Uncensored. I'm Don Shanks, John Sitton, Alan Hudson, as per normal with me. How are we, gentlemen?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of football to talk about today. This VAR bullshit that's keep messing up every week. When are they going to stop this? I mean, look at last weekend. You know, Jordan Pickford's situation. The keeper comes out, takes him right out, Van Dijk, more or less stretchered off, out for the season. And they're trying to say because the play actually was given for an offside or something, all of a sudden it didn't matter the continuation. What do you think of that?
Well, we was here, didn't we? And we said from the initial contact straight away the red card. Immaterial of it being onside, offside, any side. They sent someone off. They sent the kid off Mount England after the final whistle the other night. So that just that doesn't make any sense. So that doesn't make any sense. If they can send someone after the final whistle, then they can send him off the them. And it's not that; it's the repercussions. That's probably cost Liverpool the league now. That goalkeeper has cost Liverpool.
And probably 60 million to buy a new centre after, unless you're available.
Yeah. If I lose the 5 stump, you never know. No, I agree with Alan. I think it's cost them the league. Probably cost them the league. I know it's early, very early, but it's such a key. I think the common consensus is probably the best centre back in the world.
No, definitely, yeah.
And that seems to generally like the.
He's irreplaceable, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think it showed when it came on there with the amount of balls they whipped into the box for crosses just above head height because he's so dominant in that department as well. Very reckless and both feet off the ground.
Oh yeah, no, just take him out.
Straight red card.
It was no doubt about
it. I think it probably what we said in previous weeks about his how erratic he can be.
His
decision making,
etc. Lose the plot there.
Yeah, he did lose the plot, and he's highlighted it.
I think the ref and the fella watching the VAR lost it as well, because how they can actually say, well, he should have gone to that right away after that, but because he never did, or because I didn't tell him, it's okay, the goalkeeper gets off of it. See, I mean, at what point they just say, no, he hasn't got off of it, it's a ridiculous challenge, it's got to be a red.
You know what's gone on as well. You know where this has come from. When we played, goalkeepers used to go down with their hands and dive at people's feet. That's quite brave.
Yeah.
So nowadays, since they've been teaching players or telling goalkeepers to play with their feet, they're now coming out and tackling people.
I thought it was Ronnie Harris the way he came out.
Oh, mate, I thought John Sitton. It was
unbelievable. Sitton wouldn't have been so blatant.
All due respect, that was too low for me.
No, he wouldn't have got up. But he should not have been coming out tackling with his feet. He should have been going down with his hands to get the ball. He's a goalkeeper. And this is where it's all come from now, because goalkeepers now think they're players. And they're coming out and they're tackling people. Yeah. Well, that don't seem right.
The end of your era, beginning of my era, I'll tell you the governor at that, Bob Wilson. Magnificent. But if they are going to play with their feet, in terms of like the extra outfield player, what's wrong with just getting out there? He could still stay big. But just shepherd him, he was going nowhere.
But don't you remember
shepherd him towards the corner flag?
We were kids though, John. Let's start playing the rush goalie in a minute, man. We're a man down and we'll be rush goalie. We don't need to save the ball anymore.
We're going back a month and talking about do we want goalkeepers to play with their feet, and this is what it's come to now.
Well, the first thing is
coming out and making tackles like a centre half.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith at Stoke, an animal. The man was an animal. John Sitton at the Orient. Ron Harris at Chelsea.
And Millwall.
Yeah.
QBR.
Yeah.
Keach.
Yeah, Keach. Yeah, but so I think Jurgen is entitled to be pissed off with the FA. Well, you feel hard done by. We've got our best player out. We're going to have to pay 50, 60 million for someone. We will try the other guy along with Gomez or whatever, see if it works. But generally, they'll have to buy somebody.
Did they mention legal action?
Well, they sort of mentioned that they're not happy with what's going on and they want to review it further.
Yeah.
But we're now going to talk about the one which would have sent me over the edge. Me and you had a sneaky tenner apiece, draw no bet.
That's right.
I pulled the tenner out to give you. You nearly snapped my hand off. Alan just went, VAR are watching it.
I said, put it in the tips
jar. I said, watching it? What for?
Put it in the tips jar.
Why are they watching it? Yeah. How many people would have watched that game last week? 50, 60, 100 million? I don't know.
Yeah, worldwide.
There wouldn't have been one person would have said that was offside. Yeah. Not one.
We know.
But the guy in Stockley Park somehow managed to say it was offside. Apparently Sunesco has been up there and he said all the lines, it's all minute. They've got this, you can see. a cigarette paper.
Yeah.
Do we want that?
What I said in January,
It's
they're
getting
allowed to wear an
ridiculous.
undershirt. I did it in January because it'd be like offside by a nipple. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. We both said at the time, magnificent, where he's shaped, like opened his body.
He's done the
given me
reverse
done a little
pass,
reverse.
and he's come, he's whipped over.
That's out of his repertoire. That.
Well, it was, yeah.
You know
That was
what I
one of Alan's, yeah.
But we had this conversation at the end of last season, and we said they got scrapped VAR, and yet it's still going on. It's still causing trouble. The big problem is that could have cost Van Dijk his career. He could be out forever, all through a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers shouldn't be tackling people. They're not. They're not good. As I said the other week, they're like American footballers. They play with their hands.
But I mean, why? Why would they show everybody the still photo of the VAR decision? Why would they show 50, 100 million people and say, it's offside, when every single person's looking at the telly and go, what are they on about?
Yeah.
How can they say it's offside? It's impossible.
I've got to say there was still a lot to do.
Well,
Before you're talking about the thing before Henderson punched it in.
Yeah, but I'm saying that they can't be giving these things offside. You're meant to be encouraging goals. You're meant to be sort of saying, well, let's get some open play goals. That was a great build-up, great little move, good finish. Yeah. I've got the tenner ready to give you. They bailed me out the VAR. Thanks a lot up there, by the way. And, that's how it goes. So now we're talking about Stockley Park. Who's the individual that sat in there watching this? A referee, right? My view is, John, there should be 3 different independent people in there, all in their own room, all watching the same thing. And then when it comes up that you have to make a decision, you watch it, you write down a yes or a no, goal or no goal, and you come back out. And if it's 2 of you say it's a goal, it's a goal. Simple as that. One person somehow is getting this wrong on a regular basis. So, we could maybe put an ex-footballer up there, someone in there, someone sort of like a little bit of common sense in there. Yeah. Because it just seems as though they're getting to a point that whatever they're coming up with is basically a debate on whether it's the right decision.
But when they've got the jump, ex-pros, is they know the nuances and the idiosyncrasies of the game. And they know whether something's been intentional, unintentional. We know, don't we, if someone's tried to top someone. We know if someone's tried to pull a stroke. Yeah. We know if someone pulled the shirt on. But we know, etc., etc. So because I think we know the little nuances.
Little snidey little tricks in the trade and stuff. They think they know what they are. But I don't think they do.
Yeah,
the inconsistency of the VAR, though, is they've got the monitor on the line, and sometimes they look at it, sometimes they don't. They should look at it every time. If they're going to be consistent with this VAR, then the referee, he's ears in his earpiece. They can't make a decision in Stockley Park, so he's got to run over and have a look and decide. Use the monitor all the time. If you otherwise take the monitor away, it's just inconsistent, and that is a problem with our game.
But me and Alan did have a chat the other day, and we decided we was going to ask you, would you be prepared to go up there to Stockley Park and shake them up?
Shake them up. They're shaking up, isn't it?
I mean, I think you
they're
go in there.
Inconsistent.
He's got our vote. I'm getting there.
Even that was us, is it?
Yeah. Anyway, so enough of that VAR. Get rid of it, or get it working properly.
Definitely needs a team talk.
So we talked about your team, as in Alan's old team, Chelsea, 3-3, 2 up against Southampton.
Yeah, Knows my bet.
Yeah.
He's coated me after because he called the Southampton away for him. I'm not an happy man, as you know, with regards to, having the bet knows.
I said before the game, John, Southampton would not lay down. No. And even at 3-2, I fancied them, no matter what. And it was quite interesting to listen to the Southampton.
Well, 2 things. Anyone I think you know what you're talking about. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when I have money on it, can you please keep quiet? that's it.
But is the situation? Is he getting it right, Frank? Is it coming right? I mean, obviously the Champions League game, 0-0 Seville. Yeah. That weren't a classic by any standards.
Listen, he's caked. He's caked. Listen, I'm going to say. Listen, let me answer this, Don, because I've been there a little bit. I've seen, and in a way, it's good. I like it. He's got this truculence about him. Right. He's a bit defiant. But at the same time, you look at him in press conferences, and I suffered from the same problem. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't say insecurity, it's like a little bit of defiance there, where he's on the defensive. In pardon the pun, in terms of the questioning. You understand what I mean? I'd like to see him be a bit more brash and arrogant, and just
But he hasn't
be
got a lot of
almost
experience.
dismissive. Well, we ain't, but he got the job, and that's what he done marvellous last year.
He's at Derby.
Listen, how many managers give their right arm for an FA Cup final place? And like, I'd like to see him perform better and the top 4 finish.
I know,
so in the first year, he's done marvellous, right?
Right.
But what they've got to do, he's come out with a thing yesterday, I think, with a press conference now, talking about we're trying to integrate 6 players into the system, 6 new players, etc., you know. He shouldn't be rising to that bait from the media. He should be almost dismissive of it.
He's very lucky at the moment, Frank, that there's no crowds. Otherwise, he'd be walking out in Bridge, mate.
Well, I was on the end of that. It's for a couple of bad games, I know how that goes. I know how that goes. Don't worry about that.
So we're talking about, and let's talk about them today at Man U. How do you see it going there? Obviously, they've gone.
It won't be 0-0. It won't be 0-0, let me tell you. But like, just very quickly, this is when they were still winning the game, Zuma. It's like opposites. When you're coaching, let me like the setup very quickly. The setup, right? When you talk to the centre, when you're coaching centre backs, if you've got a flat back 4 and you've got 2 centre backs, it's about coaching them so that they're snuff out danger in terms of being on the right side of the ball. So if the ball's on the outside, you mark inside to out, right? If the ball's in the channel, you mark on the outside, a yard and a half off the geezer's shoulder. So if it's deep in the corner, the little 5er ball, what they call the 5er ball, you spin in and you've got the jump on him. You've got a couple of yards on him, back to the keeper, whatever. When you've got 3 centre backs, right, like they set up last week, you don't even have to move. Zuma's already there. Right. So in terms of 2 things, first thing is you get your body in, like you teach your forward, but the reverse, you get your body in. So I like to see you get your body in, just nut it towards the touchline and maybe you'll get up the line. Which brings me to the second thing. You don't do what he did, put pressure on a goalkeeper who's already under pressure, knows in everything. His confidence is lower than the snake's belly in a sunken submarine. So what you don't do, you don't give him a back pass to deal with.
He's in trouble.
Let's all right, John.
So let's
get back to talking to the people basics. The basic of this football game is 2.5 years ago, this fellow was playing at Stoke. And I watched him 2 or 3 times, and the Stoke fans were wondering what it was all about. But now he's playing in a team that are going looking for a Champions League spot. They're in the Champions League. Yes. And now he's making mistakes like that. My mate come down from Stoke in the week, I was out having a drink with him and said, how on earth does Zuma get in the Chelsea team? Yet Frank sees him as his centre half. Now, come on, he's played with John Terry. Don't tell me he don't know centre half. Yeah. The kid shouldn't be in the side. He wasn't even outside.
John had what he ain't got. This is just my belief looking at it from a distance.
Yeah, but you're talking about coaching Zuma. Yeah, but John, he shouldn't be in the team, John.
John Terry had natural, I think, football intelligence, awareness of danger.
He's the best centre half in the world.
Yeah, but the flip side, he didn't have what Zuma's got, which is pace, power, etc., etc. So if you could put John Terry's head on Zuma's shoulders,
probably more had no pace, mate. He won the World Cup.
Yeah, no.
It's all about what you've got to do.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I agree 100%.
So, at United today, how do we see it? Go on, you go first. Man United, they beat Paris Saint-Germain. They beat Newcastle 4-1 last week. 3 goals the last 10 minutes.
What it is, they're watching our podcast because Rashford, what week is that after we've
Rashford smash.
We've coated
Rashford smash.
What we've got to do, we've got to have a Rashford weekly, I think.
Don't be rash. Don't get rash here.
We're going back to Frank's first game, aren't we?
Last year.
Trafford.
Did you go? Was it 4-0 that game?
There.
You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, and so we're going back to that. So it's a different ball game from that, but Manchester United on high.
But they won that game 4-0 last year, Man U. Chelsea should have been 2 up. They've hit the post, hit the bar. They could have scored 3 or 4. I remember that game because I couldn't believe it.
But the harsh reality of it all is that they didn't, and they're in big trouble. And today, he's got 2 results this week that saved his job. Solskjaer.
PSG.
Yeah.
So they carried that in today. Now the pendulum swung. It's Frank's turn now. There's rumours this week that the governor's looking at and the Juventus manager to come in. He's got him in the wings, waiting to sack Frank. Now Frank, you're talking about last season, what he done last season. What did Di Matteo won the Champions League, got the sack?
Yeah,
this Russian mate,
he don't mess about.
It's a madness of football, and Chelsea's a microcosm of it. That's the bottom line. It's just completely mad.
So I do think, as you said, there will be goals in the game. I don't know which way it's going to go. Be interesting because I think Solskjaer's been pretty lucky.
Yes.
As Alan said, he's had 2 results. Newcastle, they should have been 2-1 down. They've ended up winning 4-1. During the week, Paris Saint-Germain was the worst performance of any European team I've seen in the first half with the players they had. Bearing in mind, they played Bayern Munich in a great final 6 months ago, whenever it was. And here they are. They don't show up. So I think they flattered United. You know, they played them Pappy and Neymar, the other fella up the top. They didn't care about their midfield. United run the game. It was too easy for United. It's not going to be that way today against Chelsea, I don't think. Chelsea have got to go out there and stand up and be counted today.
When you look at across the board,
I mean, getting with Rashford. Let me just talk about Rashford. Rashford smashed. All of a sudden, we've given him a bit of stick, or I have. And I think it was warranted. But the difference with him, they played him on the right. The kid's now all of a sudden firing shots. He looked he could have scored 3 or 4 goals. And he did get a real good goal. Is that the start of him coming forward? I think you've got to play him on the right all the time.
We'll see it, Dave. The kid's done this before. He's been in the side a couple of years now, 2 or 3, and he's been playing for England and Manchester United. He does things like that, and if you just see the good side of his game every now and then, you'll say, what a player this kid. Then you'll see him another week, and you go, this kid's never played the game before. Yeah. He's inconsistent.
Yeah. Bit like
to be a great player, you've got to be consistent. People like Messi and Ronaldo are great players because every day, week in, week out, this geezer seems to be in another world sometimes. He's standing on the left wing and he's thinking about...
But he can't be on the left. You've seen what he is on the right. He pulls the trigger. He's got the pace. He's getting into space. He looks dangerous on the right all the time. On the left, he just looks like another...
With a lot of space.
Yeah. I mean, he don't like a lot of time on his hands. He likes to do things quickly. The last goal he scored was no real thinking. Quick 1-2, bang, crash. And that's, some players are like that. They don't really like time. They just like things to happen quick around them. But a big positive for him. So let's quickly go through Man City, Arsenal. Aguero's back. Scores a pen. Arsenal had their little chances, but they've ended up coming out 1-0 losers.
I made them dark horses despite the defeat. I think whoever gets their act together at the back, because it seems to me at the moment, and I want to give him a bit of credit because we dug him out over the last couple of weeks, Maguire, for his performance last week.
Yeah.
Whoever gets it right at the back can win this league.
No, you've been saying that.
I agree. The top echelon, the top 4, 5, 6 club, whoever gets it right, because you look at the Spurs turnout, that was another fiasco, right?
We'll talk
about we're good. Well, no doubt we're going to come there. But you look at the teams who are hovering in around. United have had a blip. Chelsea would have a great, looking comfortable, cruising. They go under. Arsenal, not so much. Just a narrow. He's put a bit steel into them. And
getting on to Arsenal.
They're my dark horses.
Yeah. Well, the fella they've signed from Atletico Madrid, Partey, Thomas Partey. Yeah. Martin Keown said the other day on the media, he said it was like when Patrick Vieira came to Arsenal, he said this fella had the best performance of an Arsenal player on a debut.
He don't know what he's talking about.
I like Keown. you like Keown?
You two are defenders.
Well, we've got to take, he says what he thinks. But anyway, I'm just about to say, Partey, he came on a sub the other week, he got booked. He played the other day in the game where they won away from home in the cup. He got booked. So he's played 2 games, got booked twice. In the meantime, Atletico Madrid got beat 4-0 playing, where they just went through the midfield where this kid weren't playing. So he's got to be some form of powerhouse in there, that boy.
Yeah.
Be interesting to sort of see how he goes. But Arteta, I'm not sure I'm in love with the tactics. We thought it would be a tight game.
It's come to me, tactical. In reply to Alan, it's come to me too late. And I'm speaking on both of you. I've got no shame whatsoever in admitting or saying that I was just nothing but a complete destroyer. And you need both sides of the game.
Yeah,
you need to get both ends right. And this is why I think as he's shoring it up, a little bit harder to beat, a little bit more steel. Days of yore, maybe like George Graham, the early part of Wenger's reign, with like that the famous back five that he inherited. I think that honestly they're my dark horses now. in terms of like turning everyone over.
Well, they could do
because he's getting both. He's getting the
but
approach
I mean,
right.
even up the front,
Both
they've
ends
got
of
like
your word,
Adebayo,
They're
they've
potent,
got
yeah.
Lasseret, they've got the other kid,
Yeah.
and Packy, whatever his name
That's
is.
easy for you to say.
Yeah. I've been practicing, John. I've been practicing. So Arsenal, I think the jury's out with them. They, I think they're a decent side, but are they going to really challenge for the top spots? I'm not really sure about
for
that.
70 minutes the other night in Austria, you wouldn't have thought. You'd have thought they were second division. Arsenal.
Really?
They were awful,
Grenade. Grenade.
Yeah. He's starting again.
No, they were awful. And he was standing on the line. I'll tell you, he didn't know what to do. They brought the two front people on.
Right.
And saved their life. But the first goal, the goalkeeper made a rick, made it 1-1, but they were 1-0 up the other team. They were comfortable. And they're Austrian. I've never heard of the other team.
No.
But that simply ain't good enough for Arsenal. That couldn't happen. So you just mentioned the jury out, and it most definitely is out.
So, Tottenham West Ham, what a game, mate.
Yeah, great.
Go
game.
3-0 up. I
Great
mean,
game
Harry
for the
Kane,
Wolves.
that's the best performance I've seen a player in the first half.
First 20 minutes.
Yeah. All season. He was incredible.
Yeah, well, he saved his
I
energy.
looked at him and
He saved his energy from England duty. Have it right.
But he's still the best we got.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Right.
I mean, he just
Right.
proved his class.
Yeah.
I mean, that little nutmeg and drilled it in the bottom corner. He had no room at all. It was sheer brilliant. Him and Son get on so well. Now they've got Bale, which obviously it weren't a great debut as much. If he'd have scored, it would have been.
the dream.
But all of a sudden, the end result, it was a great result for the Hammers.
You get
But
an
they had
early
another
night.
kid in
You see that
they're
front
loving
three?
this Vincenti or something. What's his name?
Yeah.
This kid,
Again.
they said he's brilliant.
Yeah.
So they've got Mora. Yeah, look, you've got the guy Lucas, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Moore.
Lucas, yeah.
So they've got a bit of competition for places up top there,
Up front. But
Yeah.
But again, it's both ends.
They better sort the other end out.
It's again, it's both ends. It's both ends out. So you're talking about the thing.
But you're going back to what you just said. I think we got to get back. You've got to have. If you got it's no good having three good forwards. Like Arsenal wouldn't have. You mentioned earlier on about Wenger. Wenger wouldn't have won nothing without George Graham back four,
That's
back
right.
five.
100%.
They wouldn't have won nothing.
100%.
And Tottenham ain't going to win nothing with a bad back four. Don't matter how many good players you got up front. Gareth Bale can do what he wants. He can come in and go back, turn the clock back 10 years.
Yeah.
Kane can be as good as. But if you haven't got no midfield and back four, mate.
In all fairness, you look at that front three. You've got to get an early night on a Friday. If you look at that front three,
They haven't got a
back.
creator.
Yeah,
They haven't got They got rid of. We mentioned Ericsson. They got rid of him. Before that, they had Modric. They had players like this. If you got no players in midfield like Man City, Miss Silva.
We go back to our man. We go back to our man again. You bring this is hearing. You bring that up, right? You think this all straight away. You think, why didn't they buy Grealish for 25 mil?
I said that. I said Frank should have bought him. It'd have been so much better off for Frank now if he'd have brought Grealish straight away. He deserved.
But when you look at every game and you're looking for a player, like when you're a defender and you're getting hammered all of a sudden, let's get the ball and bump into our player who's going to hold it up, do a little bit of magic, get a breather, recharge the batteries, and then he starts doing some magic, and then you all start getting lifted by it again, and you start believing. When you're in the team of all the workhorses, when you're in the team of all the people who are just like, one-dimensional or got a little bit about them, you need to open the door. I look at all these teams, and you want to look at midfield players who can actually beat people going forward, not going zigzagging across the field. He goes direct, Grealish, and a big club should have 100% bought him, and it would have been a massive.
I think what happened last night probably a true reflection of their aspirations this year, Villa.
Well,
I
tell you what, we see. I watched Leeds play at Stoke a couple of years ago, and I said to everyone, "This is going to be the team of the future with a manager." And last night's performance was the best performance I've seen. Forget the 7-2 against Liverpool, Villa. Honestly, they were superb last night. From first minute to the last minute, when they were 3-0 up, you thought they were 3-0 down. You thought they were chasing to get back in the game.
When they played Man City, the amount of players that were getting into the box, they were like doing double time to get into the box and getting back. They've got a lot of engine there.
Funny, isn't it?
But like Bamford, last year, the fans at Leeds were really disappointed with him. He had loads of chances, couldn't score. He gets a hat trick.
What tickles me, Don, is 25 years ago, I tried to instill him, and I was accused of being too intense. Now, he's praising the intensity of Leeds all you hear about from managers and coaches, we played in their foreign accent, we played a good game. We had a good intensity. We had a good intensity. You know what I mean? It's always been from when we played.
Yeah.
You can't start in first gear and expect to go through the gears. You've got to start at that level, 10 out of 10 level. You've got to be right in terms of earning the right to play, getting in their faces, getting the ball back, going to your pattern, creating chances in and around the box, crosses, shots, little round the corners, little give and goes, little bit of trickery. You understand? It's about starting with the right tempo right from the off. You understand? And I think Bielsa, he conveys that message.
But they've got energy leads now, haven't they?
That's what I mean.
They will
You've got to do everything with energy and passion.
Bomb in. They go for every ball. So I agree, I think. And also Leeds, let's give them a bit more credit. They do play it around real sharp, quick, changing play, out the other way, linking up, and they hit. They tackle.
Again, it's a manager. It's all about management. Football is all about management. There's no doubt about it. Not coaching, John. Management, man management.
Well,
you said something around the corner. Management's all about making players better, yeah? Management is about making a better player.
What is it, Bielsa? Make your mind up. Is he a coach or a manager?
He's a manager.
Right. So you've just contradicted yourself because you've in terms of organisation and the way they was at it and the pattern of play and blah blah blah, right? That's the coaching side of it, not the management side of it. That's the coaching side of it.
Well, I think you could have
where we disagree. Where we disagreed round the corner over a coffee was you're a great believer in, and so am I, but only to a certain level. You're talking about man management. Well, there's nothing wrong with being that forensic, whereby if you do really well for me, I will look after you contract-wise, which I try to do with people. I will give you a rise, which you're entitled to. I'll give you your days off, which you're entitled to, and I'll praise you every single time you put in a good session, every time you play well.
This is the grey area.
Yeah.
This is a very grey area because that isn't the way management is.
I believe men manage themselves up.
Yeah.
But you have managers and you have managers and you have coaches. I mean, years ago the managers done everything. Now they're buying. People got buying players for you. Got to use them. Use the coach to do this. You come up with different systems. You have the goalkeeping coach, defensive coach, the overall coach. The boss delegation. But at the boss is the boss. He's got to put it all together. Yeah. He's the one responsible for picking the team. And if you pick a player who's not doing it, we all know when someone's like having a jolly up on the field and not available for the ball or just going through the motions. And then that's when you find if the manager's any good. Hey, up comes the clock, get him off. Someone comes on and you go from there. We'll carry on about that a bit later, but we'll go through the Champions League.
He was just about to send me a new one.
Sam.
I need a brand. Forget the logo.
So anyway,
I need a branding.
Man,
It's all started on me. I need a branding.
Chelsea 0-0, Seville, clean sheet. But about the only good thing is they didn't lose, probably Chelsea. Man United, good result, Paris Saint-Germain. Liverpool, they beat Ajax 1-0. Ajax had 3 or 4 blinding chances in the game. Could have tied it up. But the other game, Man City 3-1 against Porto from a goal down. Aguero scores from the spot. Are they coming back in it now? You know, as a force. They've not won the European Cup. This is something that Guardiola would want to get. Decent start. 2 great substitutions on 68 minutes. Phil Foden and Fernando Torres come on and he scores.
He's got a year.
Well, it looks that way.
I think it's, as I said, I think we've come in a new, this is going to be the real lockdown season, isn't it? This is going to be known as the lockdown season. You've got Everton top, you've got Villa second, and you've got Leeds third. All right, 5 games gone. This will be the 6th game. If Chelsea and Man United draw a day, then they're going to drop 2 points behind these 3. Everton win, they're going to go clear. So Man City, this might be a different season. You couldn't look at the bet when we first started walking. See the bet.
They've made Man City favourites again now.
Odds on.
I mean, how can they be favourites now?
Absolutely.
It just don't bear thing. I want to ask you, John, being a centre half. One question. I quite like him. It's not quite gone right for him. John Stones. They brought him on in the 94th minute. Here's a kid who's going to be a super centre half. Lots of good things said about him. Goes to Man City. He's been messed around a little bit. He obviously don't fancy him. He's gone and bought someone for 63 mil. How can he stay there? you'd be saying, I want to play football. We could play probably in 3/4 of the Premier League teams.
Yeah.
Starting. You just think yourself, well, I'm not going to hang about it.
No, I remember someone saying something to me, myths are very easily created in football. And there's a couple of things here to look at. One is, and I'll get people coming back at me on social media, it's only an opinion. And it's like I keep saying, what you'll get here is an informed opinion, as opposed to English student punditry. Someone said that Guardiola's on the right. I don't get why Guardiola, if he's meant to be this super duper world class coach, don't say to Stones, I'm going to work with you because I believe in you. So straight away you give him a little lift, and then iron out the deficiencies in inverted commas, supposed deficiencies in his game, and work with him on that basis rather than say to the governor, give us 63 million governor because I don't trust him. Yeah, I need it.
How do you feel as John Stones, England centre half?
He's got. If I'm him, he's obviously in a great place in terms of club wise.
It just be money wise.
Money wise, but where do you go from there? So
I'll give you a little go back. When I signed for Stoke in 1974, I went for £250,000 in 1974. My manager turned round. This is the manager, and he said, I never told Alan Hudson how to play because he already knew how to play. I was 23 years of age.
Yeah.
Now they're buying players for 60 million, 70 million, 80 million, and you're saying that they need coaching. John Stones needs coaching. Sure, he either knows how to play or he don't know how to play. He either knows as a centre half. He's 20 odd years of age. You know how to play when you're 15, 16, 17.
I can answer that. There's a couple of things up, and I've said it to you before. What you've got to bear in mind is, firstly, the majority of people in football, past and present, would not have been on your level in terms of fitness, football intelligence, and ability.
Secondly, about socially.
And social. Secondly, I disagree slightly because I think it doesn't matter who you are, and I think the epitome of that was George Graham, and realistically, he's been airbrushed out of history.
Yeah.
Players need structure. Players need a focus in terms of a structure, in terms of patterns of play, defensive strategy.
No, I agree with you entirely. Donald done that. Donald.
Well, there you go, because you speak very highly of him in your book, by the way.
Yeah. Donald. That's all you need. That's all you need a coach for, is to organise a back four and include the midfield. That's all you need them for. The coach don't tell people how to play.
No. But I think the thing
you've got players, and you say, if you got Jack Grealish, you say, go out and play some. Yeah. But don't forget, the other side.
But I think the thing is, you're right that we can get the play to Grealish, he's going to do something. Get it to you're going to do something. Get it to Jerry Francis, Liam Brady. In our day, Stan Bowlesy, they would do something. Defenders are different. We make mistakes. When we make mistakes, generally speaking, it will be a goal. So, if all of a sudden I'm like showing a guy down the outside in the fullback position, he keeps cutting inside, well, I've got to block that off. I've got to do something about it. I can't let it continue. Some players, like centre halves, they're coming out the back with the ball. If they're no good at coming out the back with the ball, don't. Win the balls in the air. Some of them mistime the tackle. Too many fouls. Defenders need coaching. They really do.
Yeah, I agree, but that ain't the point. That's not the point. That ain't the point. The point is, when you're buying a player for 60, 70 million, 80
you like to think he's already made up.
I tell you, when I went to Chelsea in the 80s, when I came back from Seattle, even later than that, I see John Terry come into the side with Desire and LeBouf.
Yeah.
One was playing for France. We're both playing for France. Both World Cup winners.
Yeah, great player.
And John Terry at 18 was better than Bourbon. I see him get them out of trouble so many times. And this kid, he was unbelievable at 18. He didn't need coach. He knew how to play. He came to the East End. He knew how to defend. He knew how to go, where to go. He played with a dodgy knee after he died, and he still got through the game. It was players do know how to play, but when you're talking about buying a centre half, Maguire, 85 million pounds, and you're saying, oh well, we got to sort Harry out.
Yeah.
Well, surely you should. put Harry Maguire centre half for 85 million. Say, sort that defence out.
Sort the back four out.
Yeah, sort them out.
Yeah.
Not help him. Say, Don, do us a favour, sort Maguire out for us. So you just paid 85 million for him, mate. You sort him out.
I think what he's saying, I agree with you, Don. I think those the mistakes you're talking about, you just try and keep those to a minimum.
But I think one of the reasons now as well.
Well, we're human.
But one of the reasons now is a lot of the teams are doing that high press, which we might not have done so much, and they're actually allowing the quick break against them.
Yeah.
Because like the Liverpool situation, when they got Van Dijk on a quick break, they're not worried about it. The same situation with Maguire on a quick break, I'll be worried about it. You know, forward taking him on, I think it's sort of beat him. So I think, you know, you're making him have to play forward at the back.
Yeah. Well, I
used to
coach
4-4-2.
I nicked it off of Liverpool. We pressed from the front 25, 26 years ago. And we had the strategy. I nicked it off of Venables, showing inside. And it's about your recovery runs, etc., which I won't go into and bore everyone with. But for me, this is where football intelligence comes in, because I was brought up at Chelsea. 6 years I was there, and long before it became fashionable that day, there was such a thing as a tactical foul. Do you know what I mean? So I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked.
I mean, we got away with murder in them days. Yeah. I think now it's like...
You don't have to decipher it, people. It's just a little nudge or a little instruction. Yeah, sorry, ref.
Just go in the front row.
Yeah.
So...
Eric Cantona.
Yeah. Oh, Eric jumps in and that's right. All right, so look, we got the Europa League. The Arsenal 2-1 away, we spoke about them. Leicester, good result, 3-0 at home. Tottenham, 3-0 at home. But the result of the night and the team at the moment, we never really talk about these. Glasgow Rangers. They beat Celtic 2-0 last week, which, like, unbelievable result. Stevie Gerrard obviously is, like, flying up there at the moment.
Yeah.
They've gone to Standard Liège during the week. They've come away with a 2-0 win. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's goal of the year so far. The guy...
We can't say that. You haven't seen all the goals.
Well, I don't... If I see a better goal than this, well, you won't. So you won't see a better goal. So if you haven't seen it out there, just get it on YouTube. Kemar Roofe, Glasgow Rangers. I've never seen a goal like it. Believe me.
Another player.
It wasn't one of them Beckhams where he just did it under no pressure. He beat 3 people, got it out his foot, and ran one in horrendous conditions. Unbelievable goal. So Glasgow Rangers look as though...
You know what you said last week about when it comes on top for Southgate? And Alan's already got the hatchet out. He's already got the cleaver out. He's got to go.
He's going to go, isn't he? In the end,
he said Eddie out, right? Well, a lot of people. I mean, I thought we'd do a good job of somewhere like West Ham. He went to Burnley, made a pig's ear of it, bits and pieces off the field he's had to deal with. Gone back to Bournemouth, done well, but ultimately you can't keep reviving and flogging a dead horse. With all due respect,
I mean, I would say Gerrard and Lampard.
I would say that's where I'd be looking.
Stevie G and Lampard.
Gerrard and Lampard as to inherit the post and be the next England manager after Southgate.
Lampard can't even do the Chelsea job properly. How do you get the England job?
Well, he's just got to get time. He's just got to get a bit of time out.
I mean, that's an interesting one. I don't think they could work together.
No one knows what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, all the purchases does he make recommendations?
Like players, there's international players and there's club players.
Yeah.
The same becomes managers. Yeah. There's club players. It's like saying Dave Bassett won the World Cup, won the FA Cup with Wimbledon, give him the England job. And I remember falling out with Dave Bassett on Sky one night. Because he said we should play the way we do it club.
He won Dave Bassett, it was Bobby Gould.
Well, Dave Bassett was the instigator of that football.
Yeah, the crazy game.
Yeah.
Set us back 30
But
years.
he said we should play international football the way we play club football. Now, can you imagine us playing as Wimbledon playing against Brazil?
There'd be no midfield.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we just bypass them.
Well,
there's a lot of
heroes would be going around trying to kick Pele.
There's a lot of heroes that, you know...
That's good, isn't it?
There's a lot of heroes, supposed heroes, who I wouldn't want to disrespect on camera. They set the game back 30 years.
Well,
know that, I know that, and Don knows that.
Vinnie Jones was always going to be an actor. He was an actor on the field, and now he's getting paid for being an actor. You know, it's as simple as that. Because at that level, you have to be internationally. You have to be an international player. And you imagine Vinnie Jones. He went to Chelsea for £1 million, didn't he?
I just think it's slightly more sophisticated. I agree with you in that respect. It's slightly more sophisticated. You come up against people who, in terms of coaching wise, they're more sophisticated. I think they're held in higher esteem in their own countries rather than they are here. I think the coaching role is undersold in this country. And I think that the player-wise, we're not tactically adaptable enough.
Well,
I think you should be able to change formations 2, 3, 4, 5
but
times.
when you're a coach at a team, you've been a coach. I've been a coach over in Nigeria. Done other little bits and pieces. You know, you've got to have options in teams. If you've got 5 subs, whatever it might be, you've got to have wingers. Like, I'm a fullback, so like it's nice in the game now. You hardly play against a winger. You know, I'd be suitable now with no winger against me. Because it's, you know, you look at Troy Ori, like when he comes at you, you've got a hard day at the office. When you've got wingers coming, right, okay, he's one. So you've got someone down the outside who can go. You get Jimenez in the middle. You know, you've got like Grealish coming from here. You have to have the right chemistry in a team. And you have to be prepared to change it if it's not working and bring something else on. Like, you know, you might decide to put the long ball in and put 2 6'4" guys up there and say, let's get the knockdowns. You might want to get round the back and pull it back to the likes of, you know, Gerrard to come through in his day and smash him in.
I don't know how Alan feels about this. I like Nuno. And I actually, when Chelsea was looking for a go-governor, I thought...
Nuno would have been perfect.
I thought he'd have been perfect.
Well, they're going to be out there this year, Well, but going back to Don's point there, is Liverpool were 25 points in front last year, and they never changed nothing. They had and mainly because they had the front players. They got the best front three, and they got the best fullbacks, and they had the best centre half.
But nothing really went wrong for them to have to change anything. When you're sort of like a Man United, for instance.
Well, if you don't get a silly goal kick come out and smash your centre half like that, then you know. But I mean, everything went right. But the philosophy of playing, they're like you're saying, use a fullback.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're playing against Liverpool? You ain't got no wingers. They don't want wingers.
Well, I'm just waiting for Robinson to come flying down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's from the Ministry of State and the obvious, but we can't be far wider than Mark Al, because your favourite is Mane, isn't it? Am I right in saying that? You like Mane?
Absolutely, yeah.
And my favourite is Salah.
Well, now you've got them two. You've got Mane and Salah. You've got Kane and Son.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both doing damage, but it's unbelievable in the league.
The difference between them is the front three of Liverpool got better players than Spurs have.
On the build-up, yeah.
The 2 fullbacks. I mean, Harry Kane, Harry Kane played between Mane and Salah, he'd get about 100 goals a season.
Trent Alexander.
Well, then two fullbacks not going to miss.
Yeah. Flying Scotsman down the other side. Yeah.
I mean, that would be your perfect front three.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
Because
I mean, we've got a lot of good players up top in a lot of the teams right now. Getting round to today's games quickly. West Ham, Man City starting off. You fancy Man City, John?
I did. I was going to put them in the thing that you said earlier.
Oh, you fancy them?
I fancy 3 away, yeah.
You got Fulham Palace. You fancy the Palace?
I fancy Palace at Fulham, and I fancy Everton.
You fancy Everton to go to Southampton and get something?
Yeah.
What's your little...
Well, I've got to agree with John there, because Southampton are hopeless at home. They can't win an argument at home. Wolves, I think Wolves are the nap of the weekend. You might...
Wolves Newcastle, yeah?
Wolves have beat Newcastle at home. Wolves are playing well. They've had a little bit of a blip at the beginning.
Can you tell us there's no vodka in this?
So we got our charity bets. SFI, Sports Funding Initiative, have come through. Obviously, we've got Wave taxis, earn a few extra quid through the Wave app. Alan, you've gone for a score on Wolves. Playing it safe?
Well, I'm not playing it safe.
I did cop last week, by the way.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
1 out of 3.
We're only losing 50 quid.
Yeah.
So you got the score on Wolves, fair enough.
VAR cost me it, because I'll tell you, I had 6 teams to score, and Arsenal never scored in Man City, and he blamed the VAR. So that's VAR.
That does play a VAR. And Zuma and VAR.
So you're free. You want to put Millwall in? They're playing Barnsley.
Yeah.
They should win.
I think he's done marvellous there. I really do. Mr. Rowley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
thought
a bit unfortunate. He's got the COVID today. Yeah. Adam Barkley, I think.
Because I thought he got treated diabolical at Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I just thought we all got him at the right time. There's a little. It's like all football people. It's like like a fire.
I mean,
in
they
the
got
belly.
well last year, 2 points off the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. Shame.
You know, they looked at one point that they were going to get there, and sort of it all went pear-shaped towards the end.
But the old manager's done fantastic at Cardiff.
Yeah.
Neil Harris.
Sometimes it's just a change of voice, change of scenery, innit? You know what I mean?
So your bet is Millwall to win, Everton to win, and Palace to win.
Yeah.
That's your treble.
Yeah, long odds there.
I'm going for both teams to score. Man United, Chelsea, Fulham, Palace.
Very conservative.
Well, you know, I copped last week, so you know, what can I say, John? I nearly had to play him a tenner. That would have broke my heart. I'd have just cried for an hour.
That would be 3-4-1.
That was the only good thing VAR done, wasn't it?
United Chelsea would be 3-4-1.
Well, it could be anything. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what's going to happen.
I'll even call it a sequence: 1-0 United, 1-1. Right, Timo, who's on fire at the minute, right? In terms of his attitude, application, tempo, he's playing at trying to make things happen.
How can he be on fire? They don't nil.
I think United.
Policy could be Chelsea's guy.
He's got a one-man band now. That's what I'm saying. He's like when the ball gets punched into him, that little step over he done where he had a little look out the corner of his eye and mugged the centre back off the other week. Right, it's a slight one off, but the point being he plays at that optimum level where he's trying to make things happen. He plays at a good pace, a good tempo.
They haven't worked him out yet.
No, that's what I say. So I said earlier, 10 minutes ago, Frank needs a little bit of time. Because I do agree with him. They've gone bum, they've bought, and he said we've got to integrate half a dozen players.
When they played Man City, I looked at his face when they let the last go to make it 3-3.
Yeah.
And I could imagine him thinking to himself, I'd like to play against our defence every week.
Every week. Yeah.
And this is what's happening. Don, when we was away before a ball was kicked, you fancied Chelsea for your life, didn't you?
Oh, I did, yeah.
You know,
I thought they bought well. I thought
because they're signing coming these good players, these front players.
Well, you're signing
no good with our defence.
Yeah, but you're signing them. It's Chelsea. As John said earlier on, they've got the FA Cup final, right? Arsenal do them, you know, but they've got there. They finished third in the league and qualified for the Champions League.
Yeah. So
for a guy who's gone in there, it's a positive season. He buys 5 players for unbelievable amounts of money.
Yeah.
So he's thinking, well, we've done well. These 5 are going to improve the team. So you obviously think they're going to march on.
Yeah, for sure.
But they've started slow. They didn't look whatever. He didn't really know the team he wanted to pick. Players were having nightmares. The keeper, one thing or another. You spoke about Zuma putting a couple of balls back in. Like, hold on a minute, what are you doing? So you've got to think all that's out the way now. And it's like, you know, go get them time.
Well, he brought Peter Cech back now, so that would sort it out.
Yeah, well, he's probably going goal. Well, he's got to put 2 goals.
You're talking about unlocking the door. I'll reserve judgment slightly until Billy Gilmore comes back, because I think he's a fantastic player. Right. It reminds me a lot of a player I played with. We were talking a couple of weeks ago. We might do it as a subject one week. Players who never quite made it, and reasons why. Right. It reminds me of a guy called Jimmy Clare, who I played with at Chelsea for 6 years, and magnificent player, but he was dismissed being too light, too small.
I mean, in our day, if you were really small and that, you really didn't get the opportunity unless you was absolutely Billy Bremner, Archie Gamble, Alan Ball.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them didn't make it, like, you know, especially at school when they were coming through. But now the little guys, it's, you know, they're as good as anybody and they deserve their places, you know. Al, talk about Stoke for us. You got a decent start to the season. You got the manager. You like him, O'Neill?
Well, he's got the international experience, and he knows what he's doing. To be perfectly honest, it was a good job to take over. It's always a lot easier to take over a poor team than a good team to improve.
I mean, they got Brentford today.
Yeah,
that's going to be a tough game, no doubt.
Yeah,
a good result at Luton last week, winning 2-0.
That was a certainty. Stoke are a better team away from them, far better. If they played all their games away, they might be in the top 3 this season. But they're not very good at home. They're not. Some teams are better away, like Southampton has said. They've got a terrible home record because they like to hit people. They like to soak things up and hit people on the break. Stoke are the same. They were so good. They won at Wolves this year. They won at Villa this year in the League Cup.
Carabao.
You know, but when they played at home, they struggled. So they proved that they're at the wayside. They'll struggle at home. They struggled against Barnsley last week. They drew 2-2. All right, they went down to 10 men. They'll struggle again today against Brentford. They won't beat Brentford.
Well, Brentford sold a lot of players. I mean, they've done well in the transfer market on the buy and selling front, Brentford, and they've probably developed a few more. But I've got to think Stoke will score a couple there.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
Looking at their team, a little bit I did this morning, they've got a young guy, Tyrese Campbell. I know you know his dad, Kevin.
Yeah, man. Well,
and all I'll say is this kid's a real good player. You know, he's only 20. He went out to Shrewsbury on loan. He scored like 5 goals, I think, from 13 games for them. He's come back.
1 in 2.
He looks a handful. Yeah. He moves well, but what he does, he anticipates. And the kid's a good finisher.
So that stat is like 1 in 2.6. So that's 1 in 2.5.
Yeah, but it's a 19-year-old kid going to play down there in that division. It's not an easy day at the office.
No,
so he's coming up playing against someone like himself. And, you know, you're not going to give him a yard. So, like, he's got to be like a tough player like his dad. He's coming forward. And, you know, I watched him probably 5 or 6 games. He scored a QPR last year. Got a good left foot. Beats people quite easy. Got a change of pace. But I liked the way he sort of read the game. You know, he wasn't like one-dimensional. He sort of tucked in here, running there. So I think he's got a little future.
Yeah, I mean,
if he's anywhere near as good as his dad, he'd be a proper player.
You probably just described his dad in the respect that I don't think Kevin got. And by the way, he's agreed to come and join us one week. So
he has?
Hopefully,
nice.
Yeah. He's got to give him some dates, so that'd be a good thing for everyone to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah.
Kevin was even as he come and joined us from the Arsenal as a 19-year-old on loan.
Where was that? At the Orient?
At the Orient, the year we got promoted, 88, 89. He was a revelation, and he never got the credit because of his build, because of his physique, because of his natural tenacity. At the time, I mean, he was actually bullying centre backs in that division, which was a feat in itself. But he never got enough credit for his massive football intelligence, Kevin.
Well, he was a bit unlucky at Arsenal when they had so many good players.
Right up front at that time. So.
Yeah, but what a career though.
Was Alan Smith up front at that time? See?
Yeah, all that. Yeah. It was you'll see a thing with Jules giving an address about the flack they was getting from the media. Right. And he's sitting there amongst them. The full Monty, like the Smith, Mercer, and all that little firm, the cup winners side, and all that. And I mean, I remember when he come to us, he had to go back. I think it was a 3-month spell, and it was just like a pleasure to play with. And if I could say this without sounding patronising, you know, when you meet someone, Don, and you just think like this kid's a credit to his family. He's a credit.
No, I've listened to him speak a couple of times. Yeah. He's real.
So I mean, he's a bit younger than me. What he did, you know, we got on well because like I sort of looked after him a little bit in terms of if he got knocked about. And someone needed.
Do you reckon he goes and sees his son and sort of gives him a few little tips?
I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine.
I know he does a little bit of work with the TV, and maybe he don't have time to do it, but his son's an exciting player. He's going places.
Well, maybe he give us an insight.
Yeah,
because he just said it with some dates, and he'd be happy to come and join us. So hopefully we can put together a Christmas special out. You know what I mean? And have him on or something.
Yeah.
Be safe for everyone to look forward to.
Get that champagne out.
Get the champagne out. Yeah, get the champagne out.
Well, come on then. Someone asked me about my team.
What, Brighton or QPR?
QPR, yeah. QPR. The Rangers, my God.
Awesome. And non-league.
We was here the other week. He's nice, isn't he?
And non-league, isn't
he? He loves it here, doesn't he? Non-league. That's Orient, isn't it?
He's bit.
Anyway, who do we play today? Birmingham at home. Gabby's team.
Yeah.
Poor old Gabby, we beat him today.
But you're a struggling team at the moment, mate.
Well, we haven't really bought too many players. We got a couple of young guys come in who actually look quite good. But we had a disastrous game the other night against Preston, conceding 2 penalties and didn't really get going. Played Bournemouth, we was here the other week. Played well against Bournemouth, should have won. Bournemouth are one of the front runners in the league right now. The week before, started Middlesbrough 1 apiece. Yeah. So we're not quite firing all cylinders, but hopefully, you know, we can get a couple of the players back and start sort of climbing up.
You'll have more of an insight, Don, but I'm one of them. I'm very, I'll stick with it in terms of, I think it's one of those clubs. There's only one way you can run that club. And I think it's to have a second to none youth policy and coach education scheme. And
well, the youth down there, Chris Ramsey, mate of mine, Chris, he does.
But I don't know if I'm talking out of turn the geezer in terms of the money spent before. You've got one geezer, the predicament that they're in, and the predicament that he's having to repair the damage. Scott Parker at Fulham. Right. And all we trace back to one little outfit.
right,
who come in and managed them and spent for fun. And now,
well, we 10 years ago, investments were being made. Players were getting outrageous money, and not even like clauses if you get relegated.
Yeah.
So we had to suffer people for 2
I've
years.
got a funny old feeling that somebody might be sitting here in about 20 years' time talking about the same thing with these clubs. QPR, Fulham, Millwall, Palace.
Well, we hope we're going.
There are outside the top London clubs. These teams are always, and you're always going to be talking about the people who bought players, the ins and outs, who's behind.
Yeah, as players, we're watching players, and you're saying, "How have you paid £10 million for this guy?" We're going back 5, 6, 7 years ago. You're watching it. There's no heart there. It's like, some of them sort of just definitely come for the money, like mercenaries, if you like. Yeah. And then, you're looking at the local boys you want to come through. They're not getting a chance because the club have bought him. They're paying huge money, so they won't leave him out and try one of the young ones. So it basically puts us back a bit.
There's a way to do things. There's a way not
but
to
if
do
that's what I'm saying is, Don, exactly what you're saying is that's been going on for so long.
Yeah, business.
It's only like QPR. I followed them at 67 when they done well. And you played in a good QPR team, but they were a settled team. They had a good side. They had good players.
Yeah, it's true. We were a balanced team.
Nowadays, they've got too many players coming for all these clubs like Fulham the same. My mate, little David Butler, he says, last year, I hope we don't go up. Because we're going to go straight back down.
But a lot of fans have that because they know the fans we're going to go up. They don't mind going up, and then we'd be embarrassing when we're up there.
Yeah, the only good thing about it if they go up is that they're going to sell season tickets. If they didn't sell season tickets, they're better off staying where they are.
Right.
Because people won't come.
He's only saying that because of what I said, though. When you go, it's all reward going up. When people spend, they've got to spend well.
Yeah.
It's business. It's good business and bad business. And Fulham have done nothing but bad. And Scotty's having to repair the damage.
Yeah, but you only notice that in Fulham and QPR. But people at the top, like Guardiola, they can spend like all that money on stones, and they can spend.
Well, imagine giving Sean Dijk at Burnley and say, "Here's 200 million. Here's the guy. They got a youth team players."
What he said last week, it's a bit of a relief to get the first point on the ball.
But I'm going to talk about my other team, which I'm quite happy with at the moment. I think they're playing great football. Brighton, Hove Albion. That we're looking a good side.
They'll go down.
No, they won't go down. Stop, he's winding me up again. Are you sure there's no vodka in there? Anyway, my old team, Luton, unfortunately, the other one, they're doing all right. But again, it's going to be a long season for a lot of clubs down there. So listen, we're going to roll it up. We're going to finish it for today. I'll give you one of them later. Let me have a few. And all I can say, I hope my team win. QPR, your mob, Millwall.
Oh, Millwall, yeah. I mean,
you are stoked to beat the Bees.
They've got a local derby.
No,
the O's have got a local derby.
I'm purely
neutral.
Yeah. I told you last week I don't support any clubs, and I don't. I like football in general, and I like the best teams to win. If I was sitting and watch a game of football, I want the best team to win. I'm not like you two.
What?
I can't be like you two.
No, you've got to keep an eye on your old club's results.
Yeah, I always look me up.
I think football's like a marriage, mate. Once you get divorced, move on.
Move on. Yeah. I've got you.
Well, there you go. Anyway, listen, we want to thank the Grosvenor Gloucester Road Casino for hosting us again today. We had a great time here. Hope you all enjoyed it out there. Sorry if we went on a little bit much, but there's a lot to talk about today. Thanks, John. Thanks, Alan. Thanks all you guys. Stay safe. Enjoy your football today.
Well skippered. Well done.